Hiya folks, welcome back to Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. This is lucky episode number 13. Today we've got some preparations. In a minute I'm going to tell you that we need to wait for a bunch of this stuff to be finished constructing. I'm going to give you the rundown of what needs to be finished before we can continue with the episode. But before that, if you watched the last episode, you know that we had this sports hall catch on fire and I had to do a bit of messing about in order to get the fire engines from the other area down and put the fire out. I'm just gonna tell you how to solve that. So obviously, if you see in the last episode, this little dirt road was what solved the problem because that extended the range of the fire station to cover all of this. So if you haven't done that in your own game, do that before you continue on. The other thing is, if it goes on fire and it collapses, if the fire engines don't put it out quick enough, it'll collapse as if you'd demolished it. So I'll show you how to clear away a demolition and restart construction of a fire building, or just demolish a building that you don't want anymore. Like for construction, we have a construction office. For demolition, we have a demolition office, and there is a free version of that. Fairly easily, we're going to just chuck one of these down here. And this uses workers, but it also uses excavators. So a bit like building a building or a road, an excavator can do the work, or workers can do the work of demolition. What we want to buy in here, just get a microbus for the workers. That should be plenty. And then if we go to an excavator, just get an excavator. Once the building has been fully demolished, it's left over a whole bunch of waste. So you need to tell it where to take the waste, and you need a transport to take the waste away. So if we go to waste truck and get one of the big garbage container ones, in fact get two of those because there's 4 slots, we might as well. Taking the garbage away is always the most time consuming part of demolishing, and then just auto search for there. So where do we want to get workers? There's only one place we can get workers right now, at the customs house. Explosives, we're not going to use explosives. Demolishing stuff with explosives is much faster, but instead of getting like construction waste, metal scraps and mixed waste, it all becomes mixed waste, and you would have to separate it. And also explosives are expensive, so I've never found a situation where it would be useful to actually use explosives. So construction waste. Send construction waste and metal scraps to the customs house. Those do have positive value, so that'll get us a little bit of money back. But then hazardous waste and mixed waste, we already know what to do with that. Send it to the incinerator. We can just burn that. We've already got that all set up. That should be there. We're not going to actually use it in the video, I don't think. But if you need to do any demolition or you get a collapsed building, having that there will solve that problem. One last note on that, if you do get a collapsed building from fire, once the demolition is finished, it turns into a construction site to rebuild the building, but it starts paused. If you get that demolition finished, remember to unpause it to get it rebuilt. That should be everything you need to have set up, just in case there's any demolition needed for any reason. Onto the construction requirements. If you remember, we've got one cluster of these flats set to medium priority and the other 3 set to low priority, and we've got all our justice buildings, the prison, the courthouse and the police station. They are all set to low priority as well. The other thing you can set to low priority is this bridge, because that's only needed to access these. Literally every other building in the city we want to have constructed before we proceed. The easiest way to kind of know when that's happened is if you go up here, go to your construction office. Because this is auto searching for buildings to construct, it'll show you the list of buildings that it's working on. So when you see only low priority stuff in this list, that means that all the medium priority stuff is finished. That means you're ready to proceed, rather than going through every little individual building. Remember to check underground stuff as well, just to make sure everything's present and completed before we continue. So I'll see you at the other side. I'm gonna, in the future save games, I'm gonna switch off the day-night cycle. I'm gonna make it always day. I had someone kind of comment on that they found it hard to see and would prefer to see it in only daytime. And yeah, after editing the last couple of videos, I agree. It was those two were very dark. I'm going to change it to be day only. If you want to change it back, do that by going into the settings, going into game settings, and then just change that to moving sun. I'm going to have it on always day. Yeah, so apart from the visuals, when it's nighttime, the trucks go a bit slower, and the day night cycle also governs the rain, so it'll no longer rain in my game, which also slows down vehicles that are on dirt roads only. That makes things very marginally easier for the game, but for the sake of you all being able to see what's going on in the videos, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Okay, one more thing. We'll get to the proper episode soon, I promise. So yeah, this guy is snowplowing that dirt road that we made to bring the fire station in range. The gravel roads are our main roads, and those should be prioritised. So what you can do is, if you go into your technical office that has the snowplows, you can just decrease the priority of mud roads down. You can put 0 at, or you can put like 5%, and that way they'll do the gravel roads first. And you can do that for there, and we've got one up here as well that we can do the same for. So I'm still waiting for stuff to construct, but I'm going to talk a little bit about how to prioritise construction. So you can see this footpath wasn't finished, this little footpath also wasn't finished, and this one wasn't finished. And it was bottlenecking them from being able to construct any of this stuff, because it's one of the ones where a mechanism can't go and it needs workers, and we only have that one little microbus. So if you see stuff like that, you can just put them on high priority, and they'll get done faster, and that'll open up one, two, three more. It'll give them access to more buildings to construct, which is great. The other thing that can be a bit of an issue is when they do their auto search, there's a limit to how many buildings they will assign to themselves. It's not necessarily a problem, but because we've got all our cargo trucks in one construction office and all our buses in another, it can turn into a problem if you're not careful, where all the materials are getting delivered to like 10 or 20 buildings on this side of the city, and then all the worker places are assigned to buildings on this side of the city, and nothing gets done. So let's talk about the construction offices assign tool. So for example, group 1, assign construction office mode. Now the Incineratorville construction office is assigned to group 1 of the construction office assign tool, and then you can go to assign construction mode, and you can just like draw a box and it'll assign it to anything that's valid. Because that one's only cargo vehicles plus like a little bonus microbus, you want that to be assigned to everything, so you can just draw a box around everything, and that'll make sure materials get delivered to there. And then you can go to number 2 and you can assign the 2 bus construction offices, and then you can click on like I guess these buildings. I'm not going to click on the justice buildings, but any other buildings that might be done, any other infrastructure other than roads and footpaths, that'll let you manage things a bit more closely and hopefully get things constructed a bit quicker than they otherwise would have. Here's an example of something I can click on to make work. The electric substation and that waste thingamajig. Yeah, it has a name. I forget it right now. But yeah, play around with that. That is really good for that. Yeah, all the justice buildings are closer to the construction offices, so in my game they're all getting constructed quicker, even though they're low priority. But that's fine. That's fine. In a couple of episodes' time, once we've invited our citizens and got this city populated and stable, I'll do an episode about money and how much we've spent and how we could have saved money and stuff like that. Okay, a couple more things, and then I swear we'll be on to the main meat of the episode where we do all the setup. So I had a fire in my hospital earlier and it burned down and I had to rebuild it. As I was talking about earlier, I had the demolition office, so they cleaned it up and I got it rebuilt, and that was fine. However, if the fire engines get to a building and the building burns down while it's there, the fire engines are destroyed, and I forgot that. So now my cinema is on fire and I don't have any fire engines, so this is also going to burn down, I think. So yeah, just if you do get a building that burns down, make sure to rebuy your fire trucks so that you don't end up with more stuff burning down. The other thing is, let's see if I can find it. You might get a couple of trucks with this little icon above it with the spanner in it. The wear and tear being 100%, or in this one it's 47% or whatever. They'll try and they'll go around, and then occasionally they'll break down and get stuck on the road, and then keep moving like that. There you go. That's a problem we're going to solve in a couple of episodes time. There's not really much we can do about it right now. Yeah, so if you want to see that, go into list of vehicles and buildings, choose the entire map, make sure show wear and tear is on, and then you can sort it by wear and tear. And you can see, for me, the ones with high wear and tear are all dumpers. So I'm just gonna buy a couple of these, and that'll hold us over until we can build a vehicle repair station. That should allow us to kind of limp along until we can take care of that problem. I'm gonna go and rebuild this cinema, and then I think we're good to go for the rest of the episode. So see you in a second. Okay, now we're ready to go with the city setup. I've got everything done here. Remember to check that you've got things done over here. This little stub doesn't matter, but the chain to send sewage through this switch, and yeah, everything else is all good. Everything's got electricity, everything's got water. So the water there actually came from a technical office. It's just delivered water to all the buildings, which is good because that'll let us survive for the first little bit of time. There's water in the treatment plant ready to go. There's quite a lot to do before we can invite our citizens, but it's not stuff that takes a lot of in-game time, it's just a lot of setting up. So for example, our hospital needs ambulances, right? So we just go in here, buy some ambulances. I always just go for the cheapest because they're all faster than the roads can handle. They all only take one passenger, so I'm just going to grab them. And I'm just going to buy 8 of them. We probably don't need that many, but we might as well. There's no point having empty spaces in the back of our hospital. Because we're not giving them a pub, they'll generally be a lot healthier than they otherwise would be, which means that most of this hospital's limitations are going to be on how many ambulances it has and not on how many staff it has. We can also grab remember our distribution office up here. We can tell that to deliver fuel to the hospital and also to the fire station. If your police station is finished and not burned down like mine is, you can also add that to the distribution office. Mine burned down. I had to buy another set of fire engines for up here. Speaking of which, this fire station, yeah, let's grab some better fire engines this time, because I think some of these buildings, the hospital burned down even though the fire engines got there. I think that was mostly just because they were so far away, but just to be sure, let's grab 4 of the GZ53s. I'm gonna run the game a little bit just so we can see what happens when they arrive, and then we'll come back to that. Next up, we have our shop here. Now the shop needs food, clothes, electronics and meat. Now by default it's even Stevens, right? 33% on each. That is not the proportions that people will take goods. They will take significantly more food than they take clothes, and significantly more clothes than they take electronics. So you can adjust them like this, or I just prefer to click on them and then I can put 7, 2 and 1 and do there. So 70%, 20% and 10%. They will still use up more food than they use the other two, but just not by as much, and that way we've got a reasonable amount of buffer for the other two while our trucks are going back to the border to replenish. And that's the other thing we need to do there. We want to, I think our only depots are up here, so go up here, grab a refrigeration. Yeah, grab a ZIL 130, that's a fast truck, and once we get our roads upgraded to asphalt, that'll be really important because the buffer size in the shop is not super huge, so having this take less time to get to the border and back will be important. Later on we're going to have a more complex supply chain that doesn't rely on one truck driving all the way to the border and back. The other one we want, covered hulls. Where's the covered hull? There we go. So we would like, so sorted by total capacity, we need ones for food, and I want to buy 2 for food because they'll chew through the food really quickly. I kind of like this W50 because I can go 80 kilometers an hour compared to 62 for the SKD, which is faster. Buy 2 of those, And then we want ones for the clothes. Yeah, buy one of the shorter, the IFA W50. Buy one of those for clothes. And then for electronics, the FZK is probably your best bet. Electronics go down really slowly. And all we're going to do, we'll grab the refrigerated truck first. Tell it to go to the border and load meat. Tell it to come down to the shop and wait until unloaded, and it'll unload meat. Now you can't tick that box because there's only one material that it can pick up and drop off. It basically counts that as everything. Everything unticked means everything is permissible. So yeah, there we go, and then we can start, and that'll just get on with it. One thing to note is if your shop doesn't yet have electricity, don't set up the food or the meat, because the electricity is required to stop that from decaying. Your food and meat will slowly disappear. And then the two big ones we bought, go to this customs house, pick up food, and then this is going to go to the cargo station, and it's going to unload food, wait until unloaded, and then copy, and hit control to send the other one over. And then we've got the, we're getting so many broken vehicle messages. Yeah, maybe I should have planned that one out better. But we'll solve that eventually. But yeah, the medium sized ones for clothes, so exactly the same again. Pick up clothes, take it to the loading station, unload clothes, wait until unloaded, off you go. Boom, job done. And then we've got the little one for the electronics. If you get broken vehicles stuck in a building like that, just send them to a depot. Yeah, anything that's just blocking something like that, yeah, another garbage truck. Send that to the depot, and they'll be able to do that. You can buy I'll buy a couple of replacements for those, just so we keep up our income. Okay, so that should be the shop. I got distracted with replacing those vehicles, so now everything has been delivered. Which is awesome. Water treatment, we're going to do something very similar here. This needs chemicals to turn dirty water into clean water, so we'll grab another covered hull, and this again can just be one of the wee ones, the FZK. Let's grab one of those again. So we're getting quite a lot of traffic jams here, so I'm going to send this one off to this other one. Get chemicals from here instead, and drop it off there, wait until unloaded. Off you go. Yeah, so try and balance your routes between these two ones. Is that even more stuff? So that one's fine because it's only on 89%. I mean, it's not fine, but you know what I mean. Okay, back to what we were doing. That's all the buildings that need stuff delivered to them. We want trucks to empty out these garbage things when they get full. And then we want a couple of free technical services. Because all our waste is going up here or to the customs office, that's quite a far distance for them to travel, so we're going to need quite a few trucks to deal with it. It won't be a big issue in the start of the game because we're not going to fill up this entire city, but as our population grows, that'll become more of an issue, and we will be making alternative arrangements as we go. So in here, max out the working range. Mixed waste and hazardous waste go to the incinerator. All the other types of waste can just go to the customs house. For now, we'll solve that problem later on, and then we'll leave water and sewage because this one isn't going to deal with it. And then if we just hit this copy source to another building, add it to the second one we put there, and then here we want so we go into waste truck, and remember there's two types. There's these ones which have features small container loading, which is all these three, and then there's this one which has large container platform. Yeah, let's just go for this one, the GZ53. It doesn't matter, you can pick which ones you like, but I'm going to go with these ones. I'm just going to buy 3 of those to fill it up, and then in the other one I'm going to buy another 1 of those, and then 2 of the big ones, because we do have skips here to be emptied. The small ones will empty all the ones with this little icon, which is pretty much everything. Even most of the buildings have that. The only other thing we need, so I missed one of the things that needs these stuff delivered. The prison needs food and clothes and meat, so we're gonna put that up to like 80-20 or 70-30 would work as well. But yeah, there's only 2 drop-off things there, and it doesn't have a factory connection for us to add a cargo station. I'm not going to use the same solution to deliver stuff to here. what I'm going to do instead is one of these distribution offices is going to go to here and load stuff from here, and it's going to unload stuff there, and I'm going to set that quite high, the percentage, so that the thing goes there. And all I'm going to do is get a W50 covered for food and clothes, and the ZIL refrigerated truck for the meat, because that can only hold like 2 tons, so there's no point having a bigger truck. And what that'll do is essentially mean that whenever this gets below 80% of the food in there, this will dispatch a truck for food or clothes or meat in the same way. There's only one setup thing left that I think we should do, and that is to do with how many people we're going to have. Because we're only starting with 4 buildings, right? That's only 440 people. We don't need 60 people in the hospital. We don't need 15 wardens in the prison, etc., etc. So we're going to go through and adjust the staffing levels. We definitely don't need 6 to 8 firefighters. So drop that one down to like 18 or something. 18 to 20. If you're the type that pays a lot of attention and you notice something going on fire, you can always just crank it up again to get that fire put out quickly. 5 in the water treatment is fine. 5 in the cinema is fine. We don't need 15 in the sports hall. Drop that down to like 5. And again, the hospital, yeah, we absolutely don't need that. Drop that down to 5. The shopping centre, I'm going to stick with like 15, because if there's not enough staff in the sports hall or the cinema and they can't get service, it'll make them a little bit unhappy, but they'll just like go again the next day and it'll be fine. If they can't get their education, it doesn't make them unhappy at all. They'll just come back the next day, and there's enough slack that they'll probably end up getting fully educated by the time they're an adult anyway. For the hospital and for the shop, you don't want them to turn up and have to queue and not get their food or their clothes or anything. The food will make them obviously start starving to death, which makes them very unhappy even if they can get it the next day, as you can imagine, as is reasonable to expect. So yeah, I'm going to leave that quite high, and I'm going to put the hospital back to 10 for the same reason. Something we probably will only need 5 ongoing, but when you first invite them, the level of their health is randomly generated. So some of the people arrive with very poor health, and they have to go to the hospital a few times, and then once they're in full health, the number of patients showing up at the hospital will drop off again. The courthouse, we're gonna drop that down. I'll drop that down even just to like 3 and 2. The prison, again, down to 3, and then tick these boxes. Notify me if goods are missing. Notify me when there's not enough wardens. In fact, in the shop, do the same. Notify me if goods are missing, because you want to know about that before you start getting complaints about people being unhappy. You want to know about the problem and not the resulting symptoms. So those are really useful to do. Don't tick the notify me if goods are missing box before there's actually goods, or you'll just get spammed. But yeah, make sure that's on before you start having to use use them. Also in the courthouse, the default sentences for crimes, those are way too long. Get them down to like half. So get this one down to like 4.9, get this one down to like 2.1, get this one down to 0.7, and that should be fine. Notify me when caseload is excessive. There's also one in the police station that you should tick as well, and when that's finished, buy some police cars and set it up to be supplied with fuel. And yeah, that should be everything. They've got the chemicals, we've got staffing slots for here and the fuel. We've got another building on fire. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I'm just going to keep that open. I've got a couple of extra buildings beyond what we actually need finished, but that was because it was the middle of winter. Oh, hang on, I missed this one. So the school, 10 we'll do in here. The university, 10 we'll do in there. So next episode, we're going to invite our people. Hopefully we get less distracted by broken vehicles and fires and things, especially once we get this fire station staffed up. Yeah, we'll invite some people and we'll go through all the stats of people and how those interact with the various buildings that we've built. I'm conscious that I've just mostly told you to build a whole bunch of buildings, and I've not really explained what each of them does for our citizens. So that'll be what we do in the next episodes. Hopefully you're looking forward to that. It's a kind of culmination of everything we've done so far. I certainly am looking forward to it, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.